If you've clicked this video, that means you're probably interested in the Gundam TCG. Maybe you're a current player of another TCG, you see the hype and you thought, oh, let's have a look. Maybe you're just a massive Gundam fan and that's managed its way into your algorithm as well. Maybe you're a subscriber and you didn't even know there was a Gundam TCG. Or maybe you've already watched 10 other openings of a beta box for the Gundam TCG. Well, I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I will upload my opening of the box. I played the beta yesterday. Spoilers, I had a very, very, very fun time. We'll be going over that a bit later in the video. I'll try and leave like a timestamp or something. If you've already watched a million unboxings of this, feel free to skip ahead. But yeah, we're gonna unbox this and then I wanna go through, I wanna do it a little bit differently. I'm not gonna just explain to you what every card does, all the different like ins and outs of what the different colors do and this and that. I've played 4 games at a beta event as a One Piece player, and I just want to go through the things that I really enjoyed, the things that I would maybe compare to One Piece. If you're coming to it as a One Piece player, what you could maybe expect, how you could sort of transition your knowledge of One Piece into playing the Gundam TCG, because there are, as much as it is a different game, obviously it's a different game, there are a lot of similarities. And as someone who as I play a lot of One Piece now, a lot, but when I started it was my first TCG. Coming to this from One Piece was so much easier than when I first started One Piece. Like it took me a hot minute for it to sort of click and go, oh, okay, now I get this game. It took me one game, a long game and a lot of questions, but by the end of the game, I understood how to play. I was having games and sort of telling other people like, oh no, like you can't do that. You got to do it like this. But all because of my knowledge of the One Piece card game, I want to try and, you get what I'm saying here. We're going to do a bit of a comparison. First, we're going to open this box, or I'm going to show you my opening at the beta event. Maybe I'll do a little bit of commentary. But yeah, let's get into this. Gundam TCG. Look, even if you don't want to play the game, I think if you can get your hands on one of these, do it anyway. But yeah, we're going to open this now.
Straight for the YouTube.
Of course. Yeah, no, you got it.
Good luck. Good luck.
We all get the same one, right? I think.
No, I think it's different.
Oh, is
it's
it?
3, apparently.
Like, they look sick, I can't lie.
Oh, sorry, by the way. Oh, sorry, bro.
Like, out of all the anime, Mecha's probably like my least. The ones I enjoy the least, but these do look sick.
So yes, we opening them, right?
I guess so.
I got up to let everything. I was just saying I got up to let everything.
We start unpacking.
Yeah, you guys, sorry, obviously you've already done it. Yeah, go ahead and open your kits, build a deck. A couple of you don't know how to play, I believe. I don't know how to play. You don't know how to play.
Watch a couple of videos.
Yeah, so if anyone can help the newer players, who
The pack's ripped.
the game out
The pack's ripped nice
that
though.
would be appreciated. And ideally, we'll start the tournament at 7 o'clock.
I think you get this
the
one,
legendary, right?
and then you get 3 of those. I think. Yeah, no, that's the nicest opening of an actual pack. That I don't know.
That's not everyone gets it.
So
It
who gets
depends
that?
if it's in the box. Okay.
You're talking about the shiny ones, right?
No, not the shiny ones. The one that's the old card report. The one with the guy.
Oh, the one guy.
Oh, apparently we have only 3 colors. Because it's supposed to be 4, right?
Yeah, there's red as well, but I don't think it's in this.
Oh,
Nice! You got them.
Oh, what is in that?
Yeah.
Oh, see.
That's like 400 or
oh
something.
my god.
Send it to Casey.
What are you looking at?
It's like the extra
Oh,
special.
see. You want to swap?
I'll show up for your video.
Yeah, go on. Oh, they're all. Hey, yo. I thought it was just one.
No, you get
That's
20
sick.
actually, yeah.
Bro, let me see one of those, please. Can I just see one?
Send it to Casey straight away.
Bro, that looks sick.
Just got a lucky rub for the lottery.
A lucky rub. Bro, that looks sick.
Oh, wait, not yet.
I thought it was just one. That's mad.
No, it's 20. So you keep one, you sell the other.
Yeah. Yeah, I might have to buy one of those still.
Damn.
Can I ask you, do we get also the promo resource or we get it after?
The promo resource.
There is the resource with the guy.
I'll ask Alex. I don't think it really matters.
Yeah. Just for the.
Of course it matters. It's shiny and it's free.
I'll do it. Put it on top of this for now.
Yeah, this card looks sick as well.
I wish I just had normal resource to play with now.
We can swap, bro. Yeah, we can swap.
No, just to play with. I don't want to play with this shiny stuff.
Why don't you see if they've got like a Don, just a random bunch of Don you can use?
I don't want to confuse other people. Or they're gonna be like, "What the hell is that?" You know what I
Sure,
mean?
it'll be fine. Yeah, I know. What you
Send it
mean.
to Casey or not yet?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are cold, man. Oh, they've all got a little beta symbol in the top as well. Sick.
Which one is
They actually give you quite a bit of packs.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, it's
16, I think. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Basically a box.
You can go either with 1 or 2 max.
That's sick.
Nice.
That is so
I just
good,
pulled
man.
this one.
They're good, man. Do we all get the same 3?
No, I don't know. It's but you're guaranteed 3.
Yeah, they're so good looking, man. Yeah, they're sick. No orcs is depressing, man.
Yeah.
Excited to like know how they play this game. I'm excited to like see how they play.
Gun cannon. Yeah, boy.
Right now, like but I need to have time to spend with them. So you just call it back from your hand. So that's what I'm going to be using from now on.
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to do that throw.
Right, here we are. And now I've got some cards laid out. What I'm going to do is like make a few comparisons between like a bit of the One Piece stuff and the Gundam stuff. I'm going to try and not digress too much into talking about One Piece, because I do want this to mainly be about the Gundam stuff. But I feel they're both Bandai games. There are similarities. I think it's worth talking about them. I can only comment on One Piece because that's the game I play. So, straight off the bat, I think... So first, I don't want to scare anyone, but there are more types of cards in this game than there is in One Piece. In One Piece, you have your characters, you have your events, you have the Don, and you have your leader. Obviously, if I'm forgetting anything, I'm doing this like pretty off the top of the dome, but like that's it. Gundam, you have your resources, which is like your Don, but then you have EX resource. We'll get into that in a minute. You have commands, which are like your events, and even those get a bit more technical than just events. You've got your units, which is like your characters, but then you have unit tokens, which again we'll get into that. So those are things that we have. Like we have those already. We know what that is. And then we have base. This one's a base token, but we have bases and base tokens, and then we have pilots. And now pilots are a cross between two other cards that we've mentioned. Again, we'll get into it. I feel like this sounds really complicated. It's not. If you played One Piece, this will all make sense to you at some point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up like a little board so that you can like visually see how these things work. So we're going to do that now. On setting up yesterday, the way we did it, obviously you can correct us if this was the wrong way to do it, but all our games, everyone seemed to know and think that this was the way to do it. Obviously, decks, shuffled, cut, all of that stuff. It was a draw 5. See if you wanted it. If you didn't want it, your mulligan, not like in One Piece. It wasn't put it back, shuffle it, draw, blah, blah, blah. It was bottom deck everything. Take the next 5. That's your hand. Then you shuffle it, just to make sure you got a completely different hand to your starting hand, essentially. I don't know how beneficial that is. Someone else can tell me. Someone else can explain the benefits of that. I'm sure there is, or they wouldn't do it. Yeah, so then the shuffle... Oh yeah, I was using a little Charmander vibes. I didn't want to bring anything One Piece, and I realised I was wearing a One Piece hat and using a One Piece mat. So Charmander came with us. Yeah, so you got your hand, and then it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And these are shields. They're not life, they're your shields. I'll explain a bit more of that in a second. And then you got this. At the start of the game, place 1 EX base as your shield's area base. So you start with a base and 6 life. Or 6 shields, sorry. Obviously in One Piece, you start with the amount of life that your leader has. This game has no leaders. You are essentially the leader. Yeah, obviously in One Piece, you attack into the leader. The leader has the life. The life is put here. In this, you're just attacking straight into the shields. So like this is what you're attacking at. So you have 6 life, a shield, you have your deck, you have your hand, and then you have your resources. Now again, like in One Piece, it's a deck of 10 resources. They start here. Beginning of the turn, both players are on 1. First player starts on 1. Second player starts on 1. But they also start with one of these. This is an EX resource. This is like a non-permanent resource. At the start of the game, the second turn player places one EX resource into their resource area. Rest an EX resource, then exile it from the game when paying a cost. So essentially, you start with 2, but one's an EX, and once it's used, it's gone. So if on your first turn, you want to use both, and you rest them, one goes, and then the next turn you start with 1, and you add 1. So, like, you're kind of in the same situation. Yeah, it's one feature that I did really like straight from the beginning. I was like, okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Because in One Piece, player 1 starts on 1, player 2 starts on 2. But that 2, they're like ahead through the whole game. It does make it like quite a big thing of whether you want to start on 1 or 2 Don, to how you build your deck, to like all of that stuff. With this, it's like, okay, turn 1, person who goes first, like maybe you get the advantage of going first. Going 2, you get the advantage of starting with 2, but it puts you back to a level pegging once you've used it. There are obviously other ways around like this EX resource and like keeping that sort of resource momentum up as well. Just for instance, I know we're going to talk about units in a minute, but for instance, there are cards like Wing Gundam Bird Mode where it says deploy, like so on play, you're deploying it. On play, place 1 EX resource. So turn 1, I got 2, I don't use, or I use the 1, I use this one, I don't use this one, so I get to keep it till the next turn. And then I pass, and then my next turn, I'm on 3, or 2 plus my EX. I play this for the 3, this goes back, but I gain another one, so I'm still on 3, and I've got 1 active to play something else. So that there are still ways of using that EX to like a really good advantage, but it still goes away. Like it still kind of sets you back to a level like playing field once you've used it. So that was one thing that I really liked. Also, while we're on the EX resource, I think the max I had out was 2. I think I was going second, so I started with 1. Pretty sure I played out one of these when I was on like 4 or more, so I didn't use this one. So I had two of these out, a bunch of my other ones. Let me flood the board near the end, and you can have maximum of 5. So it's like having 15 Don in One Piece, which I think you can imagine that being a pretty powerful situation. So yeah, resources, EX resources, I like it. I think we'll keep talking about resources since we're on it, and we'll get into like the unit side of things, which again, I really, really like it. We'll talk about it on one of these nice flashy cards. One of the, what were they? Legendary rares. So yeah, while we're on resources, this up here, same as in One Piece. In the top left, this is our cost. Top left, this is our cost. But they also have level. So what your level is essentially the amount of Don, or the amount of resource that you have out. So if I have 6 resources out, that means I'm on level 6, or I am level 6. So if I only had 5 resources out, I wouldn't be able to play this, even though it only costs me 4. So I have to have 6 out, but then I only have to pay 4 to use it. I really like that. It means there might be like a busted card that only costs 4, but you need to be further in the game to actually use it. A really, really interesting aspect of this game, the way resources are used. And again, we're in like bare bones basic version of this game. You could tell like from just the beta and the cards that we got that this is a very like simplified, not simplified version, but they wanted us to be able to pick it up, play it in the most bare bones basic way with the most basic little effects, add some power, get rid of a character, add a resource, that sort of thing. Even though it might be like certain parts of the cards are a bit more complicated than One Piece, like we have power is your attack and your defense. Cost, it's just your cost. Here, units have your level and a cost, both work in tandem with each other. Here, we have attack power and HP. And then even within that, there's another mechanic that we're going to talk about in a second that I thought was really interesting. Took me until like the end of game 1 to sort of get it in my brain. But yeah, we're going to talk about that in a second. But yeah, resources, I really like the way they work. I really like the way the cost and the level system works. I'm very interested to see like the kind of things that they do with that as the game progresses. Yeah, really cool, really cool. So yeah, now let's talk about units properly. Like I said, level, cost, I have to have 2 resource out to play it. I pay the 2 because it's 2 cost. That goes out. Now, in the bottom, we have AP, attack power, and HP, I assume health points or something like that. That's very important during the actual battles. So let's say we've got, actually let's pick a better, let's see, what can we do here? Yeah, this is a good one, right. So this card has 2 attack power and 2 HP. This card has 3 attack power and 2 HP. If I want to kill this target, its HP is 2, my attack power is 3, that goes through, right? Makes perfect sense. What this game has is a mechanic, it's like a clapback mechanic. So yes, I can kill it with 3, but its attack attacks me back, essentially. So I've got 2 HP, they've got 2 AP, that 2 AP comes back at me. So if I've got 2 and they've got 2, mine also dies. I love that. I love that. It means your smaller bodies are like in One Piece. You can, if you've got like a wide board, maybe you've got a bunch of, maybe it's like you've got a board full of 5k power characters. They've got maybe 5k or a power close to the characters you're swinging with. If you want to get rid of that, and let's say you've used all your Don, you can't power them up, you're just gonna swing 5 like in attempt to get rid of it. You don't really have to think too much about the obviously you have to think about the consequences of every swing, obviously, but you don't have to worry about that body dying or anything happening to what you're swinging with as you do it. With this, you have to think way more about which characters you want to swing with in which order, especially because you need to keep as many bodies on the field as you can, obviously. Yeah, so in an instance where, let's swap it out for that one. This has 5 HP, that has 2 attack power. On the clapback for that, obviously this would be rested after I swing. On the clapback for that, because that's got 2 AP and this has 5 HP, this would now be on 3. Sorry, got some cool Gundam dice as you saw in the video. Yeah, this would now end up on 3 HP. And then that's just a permanent now for the rest of the game, unless it can be repaired. But again, this is another part of the game. We don't need to talk about that yet. Yeah, that feature alone, I think, is one of my favourite parts of this game. I only want to talk here about the specific parts of the game that I found really interesting, that are maybe a bit different to One Piece, that I think One Piece players would find very interesting. Yeah, having the thing you're attacking at clap back at you, even though it's dying, or even though it's going back, I think it's very cool, very interesting. I like it. So the next thing I want to talk about that I really enjoyed was the pilot system. Now, I want to say that we don't have anything like this in One Piece. We have something similar but it's more like a combination of a couple of things. I'll explain what I mean in a second. So, the way pilots work, obviously we have our units. These are like our characters. Our units are what we use to deal damage. Some have effects, some don't, some are just like vanillas. In One Piece, sorry, I'm going to have to digress a lot here. In One Piece, if you want to power up a character, so this is 5,000 power, if you want to make it 6,000 power, you need to use one of your resources and attach it to the character. Your turn plus 1,000, 5,000 plus 1,000, 6,000. Quick maths. Yeah, you have to use your resources like that to power up a character. If I want to power up this unit, I still have to use a resource because I need to do it by using a pilot. A pilot, again, still has a level and a cost. The cost is 1, so I have to use one resource and then I attach the pilot to the unit itself. They're not like, it doesn't go on the field, like it doesn't go on the field next to it as like a unit would. They are attached like so. One reason I like, maybe, I don't know if I like it more than like using the Don, or it's a completely different thing. I do really like it. One thing is though, for one resource, I can get more than just 1k power. That Don, it just gives you 1,000 power. That's it, jobs are good. Unless, again, you're using that Don. No, I digress. We'll talk about that later. So I've used my Don, I've attached the pilot. One thing to note as well with this, there are 2 types of like attaching a pilot. If I were to attach this unit to this pilot, they wouldn't be linked. There's a thing called being linked, where the 2 cards have to have like the right synergy, the right typing, or some units will specifically say that it needs a specific pilot for them to be linked. So as you can see here, it says Academy trait, and this, so traits there, Academy, this is Operation Meteor. So they cannot link, but they can be attached, and you can just get the buff, as it were, but you would not get this unit gets AP +1 and HP +1 while linked. You wouldn't get that. So when you link, like this one specifically says Hero UE, which is this one, and they're both Operation Meteor, so they would link. When you link a pilot and a unit, that unit gets rush. So if I play this and then play this on the same turn and they become linked, this unit now has rush. Very important, big difference, like that can swing the tempo massively compared to just attaching a pilot. And then obviously when they're linked, this also gets like that additional buff from the effect of the pilot. So yeah, that, I thought that was a pretty huge part of the game that I really liked. This was a really, like, this link specifically was a really good one for my deck. This Gundam has something called Breach. So Breach is when this unit's attack destroys an enemy unit. So when one of my units attacks and destroys another unit, deal the specified amount of damage, which would on this be 5, Breach 5, specified amount of damage to a card in that opponent's shield area. So that could either be this base, which has a health of 3, and if they don't have the base, then it would just deal directly to a shield. We'll get into that in a second as well. So not only would I get rid of this, I would also go into their life. So it's like double damage situation. Yeah, so I thought that was really cool. Another interaction I really liked. So this is another link situation. So not necessarily this body. It might have been another body with the Academy trait, but just for example purposes, this card is level 3, cost 2. This pilot is a cost 1, so that's a total of 3, right? So I would play that for 2, tap. Then I would play the pilot for 1. They're both Academy, so this gets rush, But then the pilot also has an effect that says attack, which is when attacking in One Piece. Attack once per turn, choose one of your resources, set as active. So I get 1 Don back. So for 2 resources, I've played a body and a pilot. So I've got a buffed body that now has rush, and I got 1 of my Don back. Like, I think I did this numerous times. I think I did that at least once a game, I'm sure. So yeah, those kind of interactions, pilot, linking, units, jobs are good, and I really, really enjoyed that. We also had a little like Holly situation. Holy? Doesn't matter. We also had a little like Holy situation where it was deploy, so on play. You may deploy 1 Maganak Corpse unit card from your hand. It wasn't like a search 5, find it and then play it. It was just play it from your hand. But yeah, it's 3 cost that lets you play that out as well. Simple interaction, one we see in One Piece a lot. I'm sure there'll be more complicated or in-depth versions of that later down the line, but I like that they included that in the very beginning, just to show us that it will be a thing in the future. On to bases. Bases. Now, if you know anything about One Piece, or you've played the game at all, and you know about yellow and their triggers, this bit may be a bit triggering to you. We'll start on the regular base. This is the one that you start with at the beginning of the game. Essentially, you need to get through any base before you can start attacking at the shields. So you start with one that is 3 health. For example, this has 1 attack power. If I was to attack it with this, I would need to attack 3 times with this before that base is broken. If I was to attack with this, it would die straight away. I can use other bodies or units or whatever to then go into the shields. That is the base. That is the basis of shields. Now, once that one is gone, we actually have other bases that you can put in front of your shields. I didn't realize this until like right at the end of the first game. I don't know why. I think I only had this one in my hand. I think I thought it was a unit. Like, it kind of looks like it could be some sort of mech. I didn't read it says base right there. But what it says on it, one, it says burst. Now, burst is the same as trigger. So if you hit one of these out of your life or your shield, it deploys. So trigger, essentially, deploy this card. I'll explain why that was super weird and crazy in a sec. And then when it's deployed, add one of your shields to your hand, and then you can activate main once per turn, choose 1 friendly unit with blocker, set it as active. It can't attack during this turn. So you pay this for 1, you take one of the shields to hand, that goes there. You now have a 5 HP base that they have to take out before they can start going into your shields. 5 HP, I think, is the highest I've seen on a base stat card. I think it might be... I don't know if I've seen any base cards with an attack power of 5. If there are, they're maybe like 1 per deck. So more likely than not, you have to attack twice to get rid of this. So it's definitely useful having it there instead of just your shields. Your shields, like an attack power of 1 takes a shield. So very helpful, very handy, makes sense. This one, also 5 HP. This one on deploy, you get to take the top 2 cards, put one of them at the top, one of them at the bottom. So you're kind of like sorting out your top deck for your next turn. Helped me a couple times, or helped me once, but it worked. Yeah, the reason this is so crazy, on my 3rd game, I believe it was my 3rd game, my opponent had lethal, started attacking me down, took my 4th life, took my 5th life, took my 6th life, turned it over, so my last life, turned it over, it was a base. On trigger, deploys. Then it was my turn. I think I got rid of his board, which in turn, I think it cleared most of my board. He had a turn, I had a turn, I had lethal. took down all of his life, at the end of his life was also a base. So that triggered into his life. Like, I feel like that's an extremely unlikely situation to happen, but I thought it was hilarious. If you know anything about playing against yellow and getting a bedge or a zero cost event as the last life, and then either stopping your last attack or getting a life back, it is one of the most rage-filling situations. This wasn't that. This was a very friendly event, very casual event. Everyone's learning how to play the game. We both thought it was hilarious. I think everyone else around us was sort of like, what? Yeah, so just be aware. That's the thing. I do think they are very interesting. I like the idea of having bases, making yourself a bit harder to break down. There are blockers in this game. I'm not going to talk about them. I don't think I used a single one. I only have one. It's a one-of in my deck. I can't really tell you anything about it. There are blockers. I'm sure there will be many situations that are very similar to One Piece with those blockers. I mean, this base said the only interaction I know with my specific deck with a blocker is actually with the base that we read out a minute ago. Activate main once per turn. I assume this 2 means pay 2 resource, like it does in One Piece. Choose one friendly unit with blocker, set it as active, it can't attack during this turn. My assumption is you have the base out, you have the blocker out, you attack with the blocker, then you activate this, pay the 2 resources, stand it, and then it can't attack again. That's what I'm assuming this is. I can imagine that being very helpful. Another thing, not like hugely complicated, I don't think, but there are pilots that are also commands. So the commands are sort of like events. This one, for instance, is main. Choose one of your units. It gains breach 3 during this turn. You would pay 1. I assume you just get the main, carry on with your day. This goes in the trash. You can also use it as a pilot, attach it, get the buff. Someone can let me know. I don't know if you get this as well. I feel like you wouldn't. I think you only get, with the pilots, I think you only get the effect when they're linked. Obviously, correct me if I'm wrong. I've only played 4 games. Yeah, cool. That, like, these remind me of, like, it's a very versatile card. It's a very versatile card. But yeah, the commands and the pilots remind me of, like, it's like having a combination of using a Don and an event, rather than just using the Don for the event, if that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't, who knows. Let's move on. Now, my deck did not do this. Maybe it was a blue thing. I was running a white-green deck. These are unit tokens. I played against a couple decks that did this to me. I'm pretty sure there were a couple of units that had a deploy skill that also deployed one of these next to it. So they would, like, play a unit. That unit would say deploy, on deploy, deploy one of these as well. And essentially what they are, this one's a 3/3. I think there's a 2/2 and a 1/1. I would assume the higher level and higher cost cards deploy the higher HP and AP tokens. That would make sense to me. Cannot confirm, as I did not play that deck. But I did think it was an interesting part of the game. These are not, like, the EX resources and these tokens are not part of your hand. They're just at the side. They're there ready to be put into play whenever they're called upon. So it's not like certain, like the Ohm Holly combination I was talking about earlier. You either have to have that card in your hand to play it out, or it has to be in your top 5 to play it out. These, regardless of what is in your hand or your deck, if it tells you to play it out, you can play it out. I think that's a really cool little gameplay mechanic as well. Yeah, and I showed them in the video earlier, but we'll have a look at some of these little promos. This is the one that came as, like, the box topper. I do think they're really cool. Do I think that I want to collect this game? Personally, no. I'm not a huge Gundam fan. Yes, I watched it when I was a kid. I couldn't tell you anything about Gundam Wing. I watched random episodes when it was on Cartoon Network / Toonami. I didn't really enjoy it that much then. I'm not really into like mech anime. Like Code Geass is goated, but I wouldn't classify that as a mech anime. It's so much more than a mech anime. If you know, you know. But yeah, it just like, do I think these cards are cool? Yes, I think they look amazing. And I think if you're into Gundam, you will absolutely love these. But they don't hold any like sentimental value in the way that One Piece does. Like One Piece has been a part of my life for too long. No, not too long. That's crazy. For like a long time. Like a long time. And it probably will be forever, to be honest. So those hold a special place in my heart. Gundam doesn't have a place in my heart. But that being said, I think that makes it the perfect second game for me. Because I have no interest in buying all the alt arts, trying to pull the craziest cards. I just want a really solid game. Like good mechanics, just enjoyable. I can just go and buy the singles, build the decks, go to locals and have a bit of fun. For me, out of all the games that I've looked at so far, this is by far the one I'm the most interested in. Obviously, being able to go to the beta and like that sort of hype of it helped me to get to trying it where maybe the other ones didn't. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did. But now I cannot wait for the release. I'm going to go and play some of the events that my locals are going to put on for us to play with our beta kits. So glad they're doing that. Yeah, I'm gassed. Let me know in the comments below. Have you opened any of these? Are you going to try and pick one up? If you can get these at a decent price, opened with the, like, if you can buy one opened with all of these in it, like all the promos, all the whatever, I think personally it would be worth the money. Like if you look at the like One Piece, what is it, the super pre-release stuff and how much that went up, I don't think you'd be wasting your money. Like it's probably going to be worth more in the future anyway. Like all the cards have a little beta symbol on them anyway, so even if they are reprinted, yours is going to be like a higher rarity version of it regardless. So if you do want to grab it to have a go and play with your friends, by all means just print the cards off. Just print them off if you want it. But if you do want to spend the money to get the actual cards, I don't think it would be a crazy investment. I think you'd be okay if you've got the spare cash. Turns out with no notes and only 4 games played, that was a little harder to talk about than I first imagined it would be. Straight off the top of the dome anyway. I think I kind of said the points that I wanted to mention, and certain cards. I do really think whether you're... I know like a lot of people play One Piece and don't watch One Piece. I think if you're that kind of person who like you don't really care about Gundam, you think the cards look cool but you don't really care what they are, I think you will really enjoy this game. The interactions are similar yet have enough different about it to not just feel like you're playing One Piece in a different skin. I'm definitely going to be playing this again. I'm going to try and hook up with some people who got the beta boxes and have another play around, because I've only played the one deck. Also, on that note, another thing I found really cool, in the beta box itself, it actually gives you 2 deck lists. So if you really haven't done any research and you don't know what to build, it literally tells you what to put in it. I won 2 out of 4 with just whatever was in here. I thought that was a really cool addition. I think it's a really easy game to pick up if you've played other Bandai games. Yeah, like I said, I think it's July, the release. It's very far away, but maybe it gives me time to do a little pre-order now that I know that I'm going to play it. Get my starter decks in. Now I just got to pray that I can get into like the pre-release events. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. Did you play the beta? Have you bought a beta box? Do you think you want to play? Yeah, just give me your thoughts in the comments below. My next video will be a One Piece video. Hopefully we're opening some more PRB. I might actually film that right now. Playing all this TCG. It's got my fingers ready for a ripping. Yeah, I'll catch you on the next one in a bit.